One rainy night changed everything between us, and neither of us was ready for what came next. The apartment smelled like rain. Clean, damp, like the storm had slipped inside and made itself comfortable. Thunder grumbled over Boston, the windows trembling with every distant roll. Ryan lay curled on the couch, half buried under a blanket, cheeks flushed, hair sticking to his forehead. He didn't look like the unstoppable guy who usually beat me to every joke and every argument. Tonight he looked small, human, and it twisted something low in my chest. "Rough day?" I asked. He cracked an eye open. "Rough everything. Pretty sure that client sneezed directly into my soul. Even sick, he was dramatic. Even sick, he made me smile. I made him tea, trying and failing not to stare too long. The storm pressed closer against the windows, the room shrinking around the couch where he struggled to even sit up. "Man, I feel like garbage," he muttered. "You look like a burrito that gave up halfway." He snorted, but the smile didn't quite reach his eyes. When he tried to push himself upright again, his arms trembled. Something protective flared sharply inside me. "Okay," I sighed. "Come on. You need a shower before you melt into that couch." "You're actually going to help me?" he murmured, voice soft, surprised. "What else are best friends for?" But when he took my hand, his fingers cold and unsteady, it didn't feel like just friendship. His arms slid across my shoulders, his weight leaning into me, warm and solid and too close. My breath caught before I could hide it. "Don't drop me," he whispered as we shuffled down the hall. "Wouldn't dare." Steam filled the tiny bathroom the moment I turned on the water. Ryan braced himself against the sink, knuckles white, breath uneven. "You sure you'll be okay?" I asked. He gave a weak laugh. "What, you gonna supervise?" I rolled my eyes, but my pulse jumped. "I'm making sure you don't crack your skull on the tile." "That's it." He nodded, but didn't move, didn't take his arm off me, didn't look away. Keeping my hand steady, I helped him pull his sweatshirt over his head. The moment his skin brushed my shoulder, heat rushed through me so fast I almost forgot how to breathe. "Don't make it weird," he murmured. "I never make anything weird." I lied, and the storm outside kept rumbling, loud enough to cover the sound of my heart pounding. For a heartbeat, the whole apartment went quiet. Even the storm outside seemed to hold its breath. Ryan wasn't looking at me the way a best friend looks. Not confused, not joking, not half asleep. He was looking at me like he'd already made up his mind and was waiting to see if I would admit it too. I swallowed, my voice suddenly tight. "What do you mean?" He didn't answer right away. His thumb brushed my wrist, slow, deliberate. A touch so small it still sent a jolt straight through me. "You take care of me," he whispered. "More than anyone ever has. More than I deserve. And I don't know what that makes us anymore." The room felt too warm. His face was inches from mine, fever soft, eyes rimmed with exhaustion but honest in a way he rarely lets himself be. "Ryan," I breathed. He shook his head gently. "No, just listen. Every time I think it's nothing, you do something like this." His gaze traced my face, lingering too long. "This feeling, it's getting harder to ignore." My heart pounded so loud I was sure he could hear it. "What are you trying to say?" I asked, barely above a whisper. He sighed, not frustrated, more like relieved. "That maybe I don't want us to go back to how things were." The words hit me harder than thunder. My fingers tightened around his without thinking. He noticed, of course he noticed, and his breath caught just slightly. "Then where do you want us to go?" I asked. This time he didn't look away, didn't joke, didn't deflect. He leaned forward just a fraction, enough for his forehead to brush mine, soft as a confession. "Toward something real," he murmured. "If you want that too." The storm cracked loudly outside, but I didn't flinch. I was too busy trying to breathe around everything I'd been holding back for months.
"Ido," he whispered.
"I've wanted that for a long time." Ryan exhaled shakily, like he'd been waiting to hear those words for years. His fingers intertwined with mine, not accidentally this time. "Good," he said softly. "Then, don't let go." And I didn't. We didn't talk much at first, but the silence wasn't awkward. It was comfortable, like the city and the rain and the warmth between us were doing the talking for us. After a minute, Ryan tilted the umbrella a little closer to me, his shoulder brushing mine again, this time more deliberate than accidental. "You're thinking too loud," he said. I snorted. "You can hear that?" "Yeah," he replied, nudging me gently. "You get this little crease between your eyebrows. Makes you look like you're trying to solve world peace." I rolled my eyes, but the moment he said it, his thumb brushed lightly over that exact spot. Just a soft touch, barely there, and something warm flickered low in my chest. "Better?" he asked quietly. I swallowed. "Yeah, sure." The rain picked up slightly, pattering harder against the umbrella. Cars passed, spraying water into the street. The air smelled like wet pavement and something sweet from a nearby bakery. Ryan slowed his pace, glancing at me. "You ever notice how you relax more when it rains?"
I do.
I frowned. "Yeah, it's like the noise gives you permission to breathe." I didn't know how to respond to that, so I shoved my hands deeper into my pockets and kept walking. But Ryan wasn't done. He cleared his throat, voice softer. "You've been different this week." My heart skipped. "Different how?" He hesitated, watching our reflection ripple in a puddle as we stepped around it. "More open," he said. "More here. With me." I didn't trust myself to speak. Ryan exhaled slowly, and for once, he didn't hide behind a joke or a smirk. "I like it," he murmured. That simple sentence hit harder than anything else he could have said. Warmth pooled in my chest, spreading, steady and unmistakable. We walked a little farther until we reached the small park near our apartment, the one we always cut through but rarely stopped in. Today, Ryan slowed to a stop under a tree whose leaves trembled with raindrops. He turned to face me, umbrella still raised between us. "Noah," he said quietly. My name sounded different in the rain, softer, like he was holding it carefully. "You don't have to have everything figured out," he continued. "Not with me." I looked down at our shoes, both splattered with tiny droplets, both pointing toward each other like they were in on something we hadn't said out loud yet. "And you don't have to pretend you're not scared," he added. "Because I am too." That startled me. "You? Scared?" He huffed a small laugh. "Please."
I'm terrified.
"Of what?" He met my eyes, really met them, and the honesty there stole my breath. "Of wanting this more than you do." Everything inside me stilled. The rain softened again, gentle, steady, like the world was giving us a moment. I stepped a little closer, the toes of our shoes nearly touching. "You don't have to be scared of that," I said, my voice low but steady. "Because I want this too." Ryan blinked, like he wasn't sure he heard me right. I nodded once, slow. "I want us, whatever this is becoming." For a moment he didn't speak. Then he smiled, small, disbelieving, hopeful. A smile that made something click deep in my chest. "Okay," he whispered. "Then come here." He shifted the umbrella, pulling me in under it, closer than before. His shoulder pressed against mine fully now, warm and sure. The rain kept falling around us, soft and silver. And in the middle of that quiet, wet evening, something settled between us, certain and real. Something new, something finally allowed. But figuring it out didn't mean suddenly having answers. It just meant choosing. Choosing to stay. Choosing to try. Choosing him. Ryan took a slow sip of his coffee, eyes scanning the city like he was memorizing it. Then he glanced sideways at me, a small smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "You know," he said, "if someone told me a month ago this would be us, standing out here like some indie romance poster," he waved his mug vaguely at the skyline, "I would have said they were insane." "Yeah," I murmured, "same." "But," he added, his voice softer, "I'm glad they were right." I felt that settle somewhere deep, warm and steady. He bumped his shoulder against mine. Not hard, not playful, just a quiet anchor. "We're kind of good at this," he said. "At what?" "This," he gestured between us. "Being whatever we're being." I rolled my eyes, but I couldn't help the smile. Very poetic. Shut up, he muttered, laughing. I'm trying here. The breeze brushed past us, cool and clean, carrying the last scent of rain. The kind of air that felt like a reset, a breath between chapters. Ryan shifted, setting his mug down on the small metal table beside us. When he straightened, his hand brushed mine. Barely a touch, a ghost of one, but he didn't pull away. Neither did I. He cleared his throat softly. Noah. Something in his tone made my heart stumble. Not fear, not uncertainty, just honesty. The kind that comes after storms. I know we said we're taking this slow, he said, voice low. But I want you to know I'm here. Really here. Not halfway. Not confused. I looked down at our hands, not touching, but close enough that 1 inch would close the whole distance. And I don't want you to feel like you have to hold back with me, he continued. Not anymore. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. I don't want to hold back, I said quietly. I think I'm just still learning how not to. He nodded like he understood that too well. That's okay, he murmured. We'll figure that part out together. The warmth in his eyes lingered, steady and patient and so unmistakably real that my chest tightened. I finally slid my hand across the railing, slow, intentional, until my fingers brushed his again. This time he didn't wait. He laced our fingers together, easy and sure, like he'd been waiting for permission he didn't need. It wasn't dramatic. No music swelling. No perfect cinematic timing. Just two people standing on a rainy balcony, holding on because they finally could. And somehow, that small, quiet moment felt bigger than any confession. Ryan squeezed my hand once. Soft, certain. We're okay, he said. Yeah, I breathed. We are. Below us, the city lights blurred into soft colors, painting the wet streets in gold and blue. The storm had passed, leaving everything washed clean, including us. We stayed like that, shoulder to shoulder, fingers intertwined, hearts steady, until the drizzle faded completely and the night settled warm around us. And for the first time in a long time, the future didn't feel scary. Felt possible.